It's time to make another one. Another one because another one. The biggest challenge, maybe the biggest challenge right now in these videos for me is I'm really silly. I'm a really silly person. And I haven't done anything silly because I'm super embarrassed to or nervous to. And, my goal right now is just consistency, just doing this. And trying to figure out, what's my best approach to try to say what I feel is the most right thing for me to say. And there's all the stuff I could talk about with law and being a lawyer and, thinking so much about like jurisprudence and, not just justice and deviance and, the criminal justice system and all the good and bad things about law and what it means, but, and the philosophy of it, but also the experience of being a lawyer. And then there's sociology and the study of society and my focus on that, the Westphalian system of nations and what it means to have identity in a group and belonging. That I feel like so much of what I study is kind of the third level of Maslow kind of thing, that I'm not as focused on the physiological level or the security level, but the belongingness level, maybe because that's where I always struggled with, certainly with the esteem level and, the actualization level and, all the levels above that he broke actualization into. But like sociology, I learned so much. And then there's philosophy, which I really want to talk about and do more about. And, I'm so fascinated by it, but I really feel like I know so little about it. And then there's the whole field of Chinese, whether it's, the language or like speaking in Chinese to the camera, being like, 我的名字叫王德维，如果你已经在中国认识我，你知道我会说王德维，道德的德，伟大的伟，那是一般我给我自己介绍的方式，或者用中文说一首诗，或者唱一首歌。我也很喜欢弹吉他，我写了很多自己写的歌，用中文写。然后我以前住在中国15年，那15年很长，很多中国人住在美国的中国人或者华侨也没有住在中国15年，那是我差不多所有成人的经验。我30岁到45岁，而且我45岁，我不打算搬到美国，我只是来美国2周，为了看我的父母。然后新冠病发生了，我突然回不了上海，然后我有机会去匹兹堡大学做一个硕士，然后硕士以后我就开始做我的博士。So like I love not just the Chinese language, I love Chinese culture, the whole thing. But I'm particularly interested in Taoism and the sort of dynastic history of China and Confucianism. I mean, I'm much less interested in the modern political history, although it's fascinating. And then there's the whole side of theater and improvisation. And I mean, to me, that's like everything, and then there's kind of spirituality is the big bow that ties all of this together. The law, sociology, philosophy, China, theater, all of that, the art, music, poetry, it's all tied together with this bow of like what it means to be a human, what it means to, to try to share what it means, the search for faith, what it means to have faith. I am not religious, but I'm incredibly strong believer that the journey of faith is part of the key journey of being a human. Just the journey of figuring out what is it we believe in. Is there something greater than ourselves? Are we just living on this superficial base layer of reality, or is there something deeper? Is the universe sort of fractal in nature? Is there consciousness, like Nagel's what is it like to be a bat? That idea of consciousness being part of the base layer of reality. Like, I'm so interested in all of this stuff. And, all of this to me is unified together under the idea of what is the Tao and how can I best align myself with the Tao. And I have no idea. And then there's the other big idea, because I haven't said enough stuff, that I feel like it's not that I have an obligation, it's that I want to be part of the change. I want to help. I mean, I wish I could run for politics. I wish I could be part of the system, but the system seems so, I don't want to say something like mean or rude, but to use the nicest word possible, deeply ineffective, and that the American capitalist system and our system of representative democracy just doesn't seem like it really focuses on the best interests of the people. And what I mean is the leadership layer. The people who run things seem like they don't have the human beings, the Americans, I'm not big into like identity groups, but we're all humans. But at least those of us in America who pay our taxes to a group of people who are supposed to use that money for our collective betterment. I believe in the betterment of humanity, but at the very least, I pay taxes to America, not to Bolivia, or Brazil, or Botswana, or trying to think of other countries that start with a B, Bali, whatever. Like, I pay my taxes here. And so I feel like at the very least, that money is supposed to go to bettering here. And all I see is elderly, very rich leaders who vote along party lines for power, status, money. They don't seem to care about the people at all. That's how I feel. I would love to be part of a better system. I don't know that I believe you can just wholesale replace a system in something so large as a country. I don't think that's possible. I don't think you can replace a system in a state, a city, or even a town. I think we have to start much smaller, which is the Tao, right? Not the Daojia, not the Chinese philosophical Tao, the decentralized autonomous organization that runs using the blockchain. That's where I think I can most contribute to a change, but it's so much more than that. It's the sociology, the philosophy, the law, and when I say theater or art, it's not about that particular putting on an improv show. I love that. It's more like how a group of people come together, daisy chain humans together to use our collective ability to create something beautiful. That to me is what improv was about. So it's interesting, these videos. I've wanted to make them for so long, and I feel like, it's like they say, you got to get to the gym, or that 90% of it is getting to the yoga mat, or like, I just need to get myself here in front of the camera talking. And I've said it before, like my production values, I'm not even focused on that. I'm not really focused on developing a script for what I'm going to say and then developing an arc of what I'm trying to convey. There's just too much right now. So I'm just trying to get it out in, under 10 minutes and make this consistent. Is it watchable? I doubt it. Is it solipsistic? Is it me talking about me for me? I don't know that it's entirely for me, but I don't have any illusions that my ego is enormous. That part of my life is the quest for ego deflation. And that's part of the journey of spirituality, is trying to find humility. And, I'll leave it with the sort of Chinese idea of humility, 谦虚, which is hard because we in English wouldn't translate 谦虚 really as humility, because it's that sense of me being so far below other people that in English it's closer to the word obsequiousness. And obsequious is not a good word in English. So Chinese humility is, it's so intense. And it kind of reminds me of the idea that I spent so many years in China trying to figure out, how do you say, I'm proud of you? Because that word, proud or pride, 骄傲, is not a good word at all. So in Chinese, 谦虚 is a really, it's a good word that to have that humility. But in English, we would translate it as obsequious, which is a bad form. It's not healthy humility to us. I say, us, obviously, I'm talking about myself, where in America, we talk about pride and I'm proud of you. I'm proud of my friends. I'm proud of my children. That's a really good sentiment. But in China, 骄傲, I'm proud of my son. 我为我孩子骄傲. That would mean I'm arrogant on behalf of my son. There's really no healthy way I found to say proud. It comes out as arrogant. And obviously, colloquially, if you just say, well, 为你骄傲, that doesn't come out as bad. But there is that arrogance character. So in China, being proud is bad, but being humble is good. In America, that level of obsequiousness is bad, but proud is good. And it's these things that I feel like are what separate us. And, my goal is to just, to the best of my ability, have a group that is a group of humans trying to achieve something without any regard to all the other separations. And that is my hilarious silliness for today. I wonder if my silliness will ever come out. I like sing songs all the time and just make jokes, and I wonder when that'll come out. I'll say it that way.